based on the price conversation we had on Tuesday. They're going to kind of be repeats. I want to make sure you get those concepts. But there's also, I just opened this discussion up. If you pull your top hat, there's a discussion board going up that is also worth a point, because I have a guest speaker today that's going to start the class. It's going to take up about the first 30 minutes of class. I had this idea because when we were researching, looking at products, and the theme of Tuesday was more like the idea of the value of this place is, big with a sword, right? That's kind of the value of this big building that we had. And one of the things I also noticed was that it's a huge place. It's 7 acres underground. And I have evaluated your ideas and I've evaluated your brands. And I like both of them. They're on everybody, for most parts, on the right track. So one of the things I decided to do was I got an associate that I've known for a couple years now, and he is in the concrete business. And I think that the poured concrete floor at the Tillamook Air Museum is the largest poured concrete floor of its type in North America as well. Now, I don't know how much that value is that to the person, but I do know our guest speaker, and I want him to come in and talk to you because he's an expert in concrete and doing things with concrete relative to putting images in and all kinds of stuff that I personally have never seen, and I think it's value. So what we're going to do is we're going to have that guest speaker. I'll be monitoring the discussion board. So just like last time, if we had questions coming up, we'll be able to feed that to him. And so we're going to do that. And then I'm going to post an assignment tonight for group projects. And this one is I'm going to ask you, I think by next Tuesday, I'll leave it till next Tuesday at class. I'm going to ask for a rough floor plan. So I'll send out the instructions, but I'll send out a template, and I just want you to draw kind of where stuff is going to go. That's the idea. So we want to keep things going. So we're going to have this presentation. It's going to show you possibilities we can do relative to the concrete floor, and then I'm going to ask you to give me a little layout. That way I can make sure you're progressing in the right direction. And if, for example, if you're devoting 90% of your space to 5% of the value proposition, I can actually talk to you guys about that, and we can have a conversation because I want to make sure the projects are done very well. Does that make sense to everybody? Super cool. Okay, now without any further ado, I want to introduce, he's a colleague and a friend of mine, and he publishes the #1 magazine in concrete in the United States. He just got back from the big concrete show in Las Vegas. He's a good friend of mine. Please welcome Beth Nicholson. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Can you all hear me pretty good? All right. So, yeah, it's been a few years. Last time I was in a college classroom, I didn't wear glasses. So this is a big change for me. I was also probably standing on concrete floors at the time, but it was covered in linoleum or some other kind of hard surface floor covering or carpeting that, really looked at concrete as a substrate, a building material, a structural material, but nothing more. In fact, as a kid, I'd run down the street or ride down the street, hit the brakes, leave a big skid mark down the sidewalk, and that was, the pretty cool side of concrete for me at that time. So today, I find myself some 30 years later, after college graduation, talking about a subject that I really never thought I would ever be talking about, or let alone publishing a magazine about. So just beware, because life makes some really interesting turns for you after you get out of this college campus. But just so happens that about 20 years ago, I started a magazine called Concrete Decor. Found out that there was a product out there that people were using on concrete, not wood, but concrete, and it was a stain. In fact, it had this chemical reaction with the free lime in concrete, and it created all of these incredible nuances and color, reactions that, were really pretty neat at the time. Still are. But is there something here I can use to?
Oh, here's your clicker.
All right, okay.
And it's all fired up. Right
Okay.
one moves it to the right.
Okay,
And you've got a button there if you want to have a laser.
okay, perfect. So anyway, fast forwarding here to today, I publish this magazine called Concrete Decor. It covers all of the architectural and decorative aspects of concrete. In fact, there's a diversity of different, applications for concrete out there, and a number of different types of people that use concrete for landscaping purposes, for pool building, for general construction, for just a myriad of different types of applications out there. But then when you get to a building like the museum, it too has a big concrete surface, both indoors and probably outdoors as well. But that concrete is your canvas. And it really becomes an exciting opportunity for you guys to delineate space within this project, and you guys can have an incredible amount of fun with it. So first off, you need to understand that the concrete's been around for a while. In fact, they've been using concrete as a finish for a long, long time. And it may have been made a little bit different at the time, but today concrete is made with Portland cement, and it proves to be a very durable surface as well. In fact, you can even make it better. So concrete, has this ability to create a time and a place for people. And just like this classroom, we could have a bright yellow floor, and it would really kind of, wow you when you walked into this space here. It also has its subtleties and blends very well with the walls and the types of chairs and the fabric on those chairs and a little bit of wood finish in this room. But it's all very complementing, so it works in a very subtle way in this space here for you guys. What concrete also has the ability to do, for you guys is create an incredible entrance, a great foyer. Before you step into this classroom, you are walking into a space that is conditioning your mind, your creative, thinking. It's really getting you excited about where you are and where you're about to be. So concrete, in Las Vegas, of all places, a place I just came home from, is probably the expose of all things decorative in concrete. So just, for instance, with a building such as, the Stratosphere, the entrance to that building, includes concrete that's been stamped. It's been colored in a red to kind of mirror the Red Rocks Park that is outlying to the Vegas area. But all of these things kind of touch on the geography and the things that, get you kind of into a new and exciting space. So concrete has this incredible ability to do that for us. So you're turning a sow's ear into a silk purse. I had to look that one up. I was looking for photos. I thought it was a sow's ass into a silk purse. But anyways, it's a sow's ear, and so I was corrected there. But this project, is giving you guys some real creative license. So I want you guys to look at that and think about color, not just on walls and airplanes and things like that, but on the floor as well. Because concrete has that ability to do something really extraordinary for you. There's two different types of ways you can work with concrete. One is with new concrete applications. Every ready-mix company in America now has a coloring system at the plant. At least majority of them do. That's like putting a color carousel into a paint store, you guys. You used to just get white or gray paint. Now you've got 1,500 different colors, and concrete can provide just as big of a fan deck of colors for any type of project that you're working on. So when it comes to new concrete, that concrete has a color chart now. So you can give your customer a color chart. You can specify colors for a project, and based on the knowledgeable contractor that's working on that project, he knows how to finish that concrete to give you just about exactly what you're asking for. So you guys are limited by imagination only when it comes to these types of concrete surfaces. What's going on here? Hey, Chuck?
Yeah.
Did it fall asleep? Oh. Anyway, the next slide. Okay. So the next is about what you can do with existing concrete. And so this type of substrate that you're standing on in this room here can be saw cut into 3-foot squares, and you could backfill those saw cuts with a tile grout in white or black, and suddenly this whole room and the appearance of this space changes dramatically, but it's because you're doing something with the existing concrete surface. There are a number of products out there for overlaying or putting down a topping on concrete that is stampable, that makes it look like natural stone, or it can be a self-leveling product that is hiding imperfections, bonding extremely well to the substrate, and giving you a completely new canvas to work on. A surface that will accept color just like the concrete does, but with more control over color as well. Oh, there we go again. Okay. So what's really important to know about concrete is that even though it's the most used building material in the world, it contributes about 10% of all output of of carbon. It's just not going to go away. You guys, the world's got to have to live with the fact that this building material is the most durable, the longest lasting, most sustainable building material on the face of Earth. So we're going to look for ways to protect concrete and the production of that material, while also looking for ways to kind of improve our footprint as well. There's a lot of substitutes that go into concrete that can replace some of the cement that is manufactured elsewhere. But for the most part, you're working with a product that was made locally, and it used natural resources, aggregate that was mined in local quarries to make that slab. Not too much of that product or that building material was imported from other places. So unlike another type of manufactured product that has to be manufactured, shipped to a supply store, the supply store ships it to the plant or to the project site so that the project can be finished, concrete is a material that is standing there ready to be finished for you. So when I was looking at this project, I thought about a couple of different types of materials that would probably go well with this building. So I'm just going to let you guys think about those things as you put your projects together. But stains are one of them. And there are 3 different types of stains that get used in concrete. One of them is reactive stains. They react with the lime in concrete, and that creates a reaction. Every time it's going to be in an earth tone. So it's going to be subtle colors, browns, light greens, reds, terracottas, but but always in that earth tone. Acrylic stains are going to be a more vibrant color. You can get pastels and a number of different, real popping colors on concrete. Reactive reacts with the concrete. Acrylics stay on top of the concrete. So you have to address those types of products in different ways. Dyes become the other coloring option, but that really takes me to the next recommendation, which is polished concrete. And that's exactly what you're looking at on your floors in this room here. You're just not looking at a concrete slab that has been honed or brought up to a level of gloss that you might find in some other type of establishment where they want better light refractivity, a higher gloss level. So the polished concrete is a good thing because it also improves the strength of the concrete. Chemicals that are used, like siloxanes or magnesium and things, they actually react with the lime and concrete and create a harder surface. So you have more abrasion resistance, you have higher PSI. All of these things, add to the durability of that slab. It's already been sitting there since, 1940? So it's a process that leads to a very low maintenance surface as well. That's all that needs to be done in here is somebody's coming in after hours and putting a mop on the floor or a dust mop and cleaning up. It may be every 6 months they come in here and do something else to the carpet or to this concrete floor in your classroom. Light refractivity, that is a big plus in this category too, where you're talking about 300,000 square feet of surface area inside this building that is covered by a roof, a rather dark, overhead area. It could have a tendency to use a lot of electricity to get that area up to a level where people can actually see where the hell they're walking. So light refractivity, cuts in energy consumption. Concrete, the way you guys plan to use it, can create this wonderful wayfinding path for the visitors. And you can do that with color. You can do that with a myriad of different types of applications, some of which you'll see as we walk forward here. Keeping in mind that as part of the historic value of the building, it is a piece of that building's history that you are really bringing out and exposing for everybody to see. And it's going to be a beautiful process along that path there. It's the green alternative as well. Again, you don't have to specify other types of building materials. You can use the concrete. So the other side of concrete, and this was an application on a slab of concrete that was poured on a parking lot at the convention center in Las Vegas. A stencil was laid down, and they used color to kind of showcase these articles. Of course, they're making a little fun with it, but using some pieces of history in that. You guys can dig into the archives of this, of Tillamook and this this blimp hangar, and come up with a great storyline that people can follow as they walk through this building and explore all that's there for them. Another idea that I had, with all this concrete, the exterior can be a great way for you guys to incorporate sponsors. Help the city find ways that it can source funding from corporations across the state of Oregon, across the country, and providing them an indelible, permanent mark, in this building's concrete. So these are just some other ways that concrete can be engraved, but also where colors and stencils can be used to leave, again, something that's going to be very permanent for these people. You guys have probably already thought about some of that. So wayfinding, we talked about this a little while ago, but this is using color in concrete to kind of help people navigate their way through an incredibly large space. This is a really important place, even in a dentist office, where the tail of a kite that guides children down this hallway and around this turn to the x-ray room or wherever it is. Those are the types of things that concrete allows you to do to kind of create that space that is, really inviting and fun. I heard something about a zip line, and I had these kind of thoughts when I was talking to Chuck initially about this project, but really, that's not a bad idea. It's a pretty exciting, option as well, because when you're talking about a 200-foot high ceiling, you have this ability to get up and over everything that's down below. In fact, you could use this type of perspective to help people see things from the air, just as if you were in the blimp yourself. So those are just some ideas that I wanted to throw out there to stimulate your thinking. But you can see here how polished concrete in a large space, really enhances the life of the space too. People are suddenly able to see the underside of an airplane, and they get this really enamored feeling about where they are and what they're doing. So again, concrete has this ability to pretty much take you or your guest wherever you would like to go. So it's a design thing that you guys have to decide on, and this is where, again, the how you use that space and where polished concrete kind of creates this space that, again, is going to be low maintenance and easier on the energy consumption. So I thought about this as well. When I look at this building, I've been by there a few years ago, saw that air museum, really didn't do anything for me. I had no interest in pulling into the space. And the more I looked at it, the more I thought, in pictures that is, that this air museum, has an incredible amount of roof space that could be used for energy, to create renewable, or to create a renewable energy source that further cuts down on the cost of running this type of facility. In fact, the Tillamook Public Utility District is a publicly owned utility. That means that the utility is run by a board of directors that are elected by the public. So they have a responsibility. They run that PUD, although there's a general manager and an executive body that run the day-to-day operations. That board of directors is responsible for overseeing all of their operations. I've been in that position myself. But the PUD has all sorts of programs, so you just have to talk to those people about the ways they see themselves being involved in your project. My daughter is a communications director at the state capitol, so a quick phone call to her, let me know that Betsy Johnson likes big projects, and especially if they're inside of her district. So just a little birdie on the fence talking to you about that one there. The Tillamook Public Utility District, the media becomes a powerful tool for you. And of course, Concrete Decor is eager to write the story on this project as well. So I'm very interested in seeing what you guys come up with, and and where this project leads for the city of Tillamook. And I want you guys to remember that people may forget who you are or what you did, but the feeling you leave them with is something they never forget. And that's your big takeaway if this project turns out to be a great success for you. So, questions?
Okay, I had a general theme that was going through that I expected, and I'll preface it and then I'll turn it over to Ben. And that is, there was a general notion of how much is this going to cost? Is there a square foot? And I'll let you handle that. But what I want to make sure that I've said this before in the class is that, and this is hard for especially the accountants and finance people and the engineers especially, is the answer, the brief answer is I don't care. And I don't care for good reason, okay? Because this is a class in establishing value, not establishing cost, okay? So I do want Ben to weigh in on general cost per square foot if you want to talk about that, because if that makes you sleep good at night, that would be great. But as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter simply because it's going to cost $12 million to tear the thing down. So cost at this point is really relative on how we're going to do it. The question that I want you to think about as a group is how do you add value to the experience? So in other words, instead of getting $10 to get an entrance fee, you can get $50 or $70. That's what I'm interested in seeing, okay? Now, it's, of course, at the end of the day, if it's a project that because we put so much into it, that there's no possible way we could get money out of it, I doubt that would ever happen in this situation. So, but I'm not, and this is a class in value creation and monetization of that value. That's what this is a class in. So, go ahead.
So I know that our focus is on marketing this building.
Yeah.
But in terms of like design, we're not designing it.
No.
But there is some element of design involved because we have design elements in certain like polished concrete as a design element.
Right.
So how far do you want us to take the design?
Okay, that's a great question. That is a great question. And this isn't a design class. And what I'm trying to do is, because of the group process, I'm trying to get you to think a little bit out of the box to try to just say, this is what we think this place could become. Okay? That's the question I want you to answer. I don't want you to say, we want to spec, because for a construction or an engineer, what they want to develop is a specification. I'm not interested in the specification. It will lead the winning project, and see if this is good for you. The winning project will lead to engineering specifications down the line. Okay? But this is a marketing presentation about how we can create value. Now, let me give a caveat on this thing. For example, if you have and I reviewed all the spaces, and I don't want to give away anybody's ideas and stuff like that. So, there's nobody that came up with the idea that they want a indoor snowboard park. That's Chuck's idea. I just came up with that. World's largest inboard snowboard park. Okay, not bad, actually. I think that's kind of but you can steal it from me. Anyway. The question then becomes: is that what do I do to enhance that? And if I think that wayfinding with this property helps do that, then it's okay. What I don't want to happen is I don't want somebody to throw something at this project just because Ben did a presentation and you think I want to see that. Because if it doesn't make sense to what you're doing, then it doesn't work, okay? You're in charge of writing your own symphony as the value of this presents itself, okay? That's what I want. Now, any questions on that? And I want Ben to, because you do need to know kind of a cost. Can you just generally, is it $1 million a square foot, or what's the range, or can you kind of hit that?
Yeah, so you have to take into consideration the fact that a consultant is needed here. You have to have an industry consultant in to evaluate that concrete, to really determine whether certain types of finishes are feasible, especially in that area near the main entrance where you want to have a gift shop, where you want to have a cafe, where you need to have, you know, various things done, potentially below grade, that are going to impact it. But polished concrete in general it sits around, you know, the $2 to $3 range per square foot. So looking at, you know, an average of 300,000 square feet, you're talking just under $1 million in cost for that enormous amount of space, provided you're going to polish all of that concrete.
If you're going to go ahead and go through the method of polishing, is throwing an image in there a marginal cost, or is it an additional, is it a bigger deal, or?
Yeah, so that good question, Chuck. You know, there is a point in time in the polishing process. It's a 7-step process. Some people, contractors, push it down to 5, but there is a point in time at about 200 grit level that you stop, you put down stencils, you color, you then densify that concrete, and then you move on with moving from a metal bond diamond pad on those machines to a resin bond diamond that goes from grinding to honing of that concrete. So you're no longer removing concrete after you've colored and densified. Now you're starting to close that surface back up. But that's...
Are you limited by color?
No.
Okay.
You're not. You know, of course, lighting in the building is going to affect color too. So you could have the most beautiful colors, but no light.
We're assuming that we could surface the existing concrete. And would that be something you'd have to check just to make sure, or?
Yeah, I mean, again, I haven't been inside the building, so I'm not certain of that. But based on just some of the pictures I see online and what you provided to me, it's
we're going to assume that the concrete that's existing
is in good condition. Yeah.
That's what we're looking
I think that inside a building, it's not going to be as susceptible to spalling. When water goes into the concrete, freezes, and breaks the surface.
How long will the image last once it's laid down?
Indefinitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And in areas where concrete, you know, is not a good candidate for polishing, it becomes a candidate for other types of resurfacing products that are a part of this industry as well.
Could you put a reflective surface on there to make the lighting better on the concrete? Okay.
Well, the higher the gloss level, you can go up to 3,000 grit, but most of those types of surfaces that have daily walking or people on them is going to, that 3,000 level finish will move down to about 1,500 over time. So that's really where the dog lies. You can strive for higher gloss value, but it's not maintainable.
Okay, so anybody got any general questions that we haven't kind of discussed?
When you're dyeing the concrete, or you're doing any kind of like, I guess, architectural design to it, is there certain weather conditions that need to be met in order for that to actually set the way it needs to?
So moisture issues can have an adverse effect on the concrete. So if you have moisture hydration moving up through the slab, that would be problematic for any, you know, for any type of flooring that you put in the building. It doesn't matter whether you were putting, you know, using the concrete as your finish or putting some other type of building material on top of it, moisture is going to be a problem. But the densification, that chemical treatment of the concrete during the polishing process impedes moisture hydration significantly.
Anybody else got a question for Ben? Yeah.
I was wondering how much detail you can include in etchings or colors on concrete?
The detail, how do we, is it quantifiable, like I don't know, dots per square inch, or do you have some sort of?
On images?
Yeah, images, yeah. It's not etched, it's stenciled. It's not etched, is it? It's not,
Yeah.
images are not etched into the thing.
No, they can be. I mean, you can etch the concrete with a dot matrix type of application. That's certainly doable. In fact, you know, if you were gliding above that big theater of space, looking at the concrete, you know, below your feet, you may not see that image, but 100 feet up, you may see that submarine that's, you know, sitting there hiding in the between, you know, other types of historic elements that they brought into that museum. So.
And I would encourage you, if you've got ideas for this, to put them out there. I'm going to set the assignment up tonight, and I'm going to ask you for a floor plan. And I've reviewed all your projects. So what I've made, and this is not, it doesn't have to be exact. I just want to kind of say, you know, I'm going to have this and this part, I'm going to have this, and I'll send you an example. And that's where if you've got kind of ideas that are crazy or not crazy, just put them on there. And then I'll have a conversation with Ben to just to say, you know, is this way too far out there or something, and then we'll get that back. Because the objective is I want you all to do great marketing plans. I want you all to come in. And I wish, I mean, we could spend, I could get a lighting guy in here, a roofing guy. I mean, I wish I had that time. Ben happens to be a friend of mine, so that was a little easier. But it's just the idea of being able, the other learning experience here is in a real world setting, what you do have, you have marketing people that are driving the demand, right? And then you have experts that have solutions, and it's not like the concrete guy is just waiting around. I mean, he's got his own job to do, so the idea that we can elicit stuff out of him is a real world sort of thing that goes on. And okay? Anybody got any other questions? All right, let's give Ben a big hand.
Thanks, Greg.